Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. Today I have another experiment over here. I guess I'll make a video about it because I doubt I'll make another video about this, in the future. So let's just take a look what have we here. So now we have voltage transformer from a V12. Okay, this is a twin turbo V12, M275, S600, SL600, 220, 221, 215 chassis, 230 chassis, what have you. Now this is the infamous engine with two coil packs that always go bad. But in this particular situation, what happened was that the actual voltage transformer failed. I never seen it fail, but apparently this one did fail, and I know where it failed, and that's what I'm gonna try to make a video about. Might help somebody, and obviously I'll try to repair it first. If I'm not successful, then I'll just get another one. But as far as I can see, that the issue was very apparent. So let's zoom on this area. Now first of all, it's a mess. It's a big mess to remove capacitors and get the glue, this silicone. As you can see, some areas are still covered with thick layer of silicone. My camera is not focusing, of course. Here we got it, we have it. So this gel, yeah, this was covering pretty much all parts here, just a whole layer of gel. And you got this little kind of like a border or something, like a little kind of case, right? So that was also gelled. It's all the way to the top of all the way to the top of the actual border, like a little kind of, I don't know, frame, I guess, a little frame. So yeah, so this is quite a mess to get all these things out of there. My problem with this module was in one particular area, and this is the area here. We're looking closely, you have two control chips here, and around those chips there are 4 capacitors. Here they are, capacitors here. Alright, still has some gel on them, but it doesn't matter to me. And all of them pretty much leaked out. Yes, they did leak out, and apparently that is not great, because you don't want your capacitor to leak out. But they did leak out electrolyte. I call it acid because technically it's electrolyte. So that acid basically leaked out on the board. And if we look close, we can see our damaged area here. There's one here, one here. See, it ate into the metal, right? So electrolyte eats into the metal. These plates are lifted. They lifted up. These two also lifted up when I was removing these capacitors. Yeah, so it's kind of a mess. And the big capacitors, I'm gonna replace the large ones also. This one broke, but that's just during my removal. It has nothing to do with the overall damage. My suspicion was that because it leaked out, the electrolyte, the acid, it went under the chip, and then it would start shorting on terminals on chips. Or another thing could be is that the actual capacitor leaked out and it shorted during certain operation, because this module actually did work. When you start the car cold, it still works, warms up, and it kills the whole coil. One side is dead, it's just not firing at all, although the coil is brand new. Well, not brand new, 1 year old. So this is my problem with this particular board that I see is in this particular area, and that's what I feel like I have to deal with. I'm buying the capacitors. I'll put these in, and also I'll try to find large capacitors, and there are also 2 small ones in this area here. There's one here and there's one there. I'll buy enough so I can replace these. I'll probably put in a 35 volt capacitors. These are rated at 25 volts, so I'll put a little higher one, and just for good measure, because again, module itself, this whole transformer does operate when it's cold. Sometimes it will work for a while, sometimes it won't at all. So for me, obviously you can't just drive the car and lose your 6 cylinders. Not cool at all. All the other capacitors lost its covering here. See, this is the blue stuff. This is just like sticker over the capacitors, except for these huge ones. It's 300 microfarads by 200 volts. So yeah, these are the big ones. Some of it is lost, but I don't like that because obviously they're heated up so many times and they'll probably overheated. So we kind of don't want that. These are the coils I had to remove to give me more access to the area of interest. So these are okay. I mean, nothing really can happen to coil. It's just a coil. Coil is the coil. Nothing should really happen to that. Larger coils also, see no problems here. Transistors and all, I'll check those out also just for good measure. But again, this area is the area of interest first. And I'll put it in the car and see what happens. Well, you know, it's worth a try. The only issue that I might have is these capacitors. I would like to replace them, so I need to find a similar form. So it has to be the same height, so cover can go back on, and you know, just so they fit, so I can close the cover on. I don't care for gel. Gel does not have to be there since these pieces are lifted up, so we'll have to probably put a little bit of silicone around new capacitors that I'm gonna install there, just so they don't move, right? Or maybe a dab of glue, I don't know, I'm not sure. Whatever's not conductive, obviously. And yeah, and also I have to make sure that we have good connection through these openings, because usually as it leaks out, it can actually kill the connectivity between upper board, I mean one layer of the board and the other layer underneath. That could be the issue. On this side the board looks perfect, no damages or anything. Well, yeah, this is me, unfortunately. Yeah, that was me. I was trying to get this capacitor out, so I guess I didn't do the right temperature on the solder iron because I didn't know how much I have to do. So, but nonetheless, yeah, that's not a big deal. I mean, we still have others still attached, so the capacitor is not gonna go anywhere. No big deal. And also, as you know, this module sits right in the center of the engine, right? So it's right on top of the engine, right in the middle of the V, you know, the V12, right? So the engine, this piece is sitting on top. And there is very little vibration in that particular area. I'm not worried about vibration, actually. So I'm worried about the actual functionality. So yeah. Now, do I recommend anybody doing this? To be honest with you, it took me quite a long time to get to this stage. I don't know how much capacitors will cost. Obviously, new transformer is very expensive. Used ones are not extremely expensive, so that might make sense just to go with the used transformer, and that's what I was gonna go. But I had a little bit of time today on the bench, so I figured, you know what, let me just do it. And this should go back into my CL600, and yeah, that's what I want to put back into CL600, because that just sits there covered up. I don't need that car. It's just whatever. It's like a long going project for years already. It's like, okay, it is what it is, but I still want to finish it, so that's why I'm working on electronic part of it. Next thing will be the coil on the left side. I got some misfires on 7th and 8th and 9th cylinder, but that's the next thing. First is the transformer. I need to get coil to work to start off with. All right, so I guess this was it. I guess just a quick informational video, experimental video, if you will. A little experiment I'm running right now. And like I said, this might help somebody if should you decide to do this. Then yes, I mean, if you have any problems with these chips, yeah, you can remove them and resolder them. They're very delicate because they're tiny, you know what I mean? Those two little tiny chips, they're not, you know, they're not for faint at heart, because very tiny attachment points. I would suggest doing it with microscope, right? So yeah, that would be good if you were to use microscope with these. I made my own out of the cell phone and light and backlight and everything. I can use my cell phone and zoom onto these, and that's my microscope basically. And then also I'm just saying, it's, if you want to, these are tiny chips. It's just, well, I mean, I don't like working on chips like this small. These are very small. I can do them, but kind of like not easy in household conditions. But it's doable. But I'm not sure if I can buy these very chips. I'm gonna research what they do, but obviously they seem to be control chips. All right, so this is it. This is what we're doing here, and here is the voltage transformer, how it looks on top. Some of these models also came with metal case. Pardon my cell phone focusing and going in and out of focus. It's just very old cell phone. But some of these things came with metal covering, and this one is obviously plastic cover, and production date is 2002. Right, so that is about what, 20-year-old voltage transformer. And well, yeah, in 20 years there's definitely a possibility of capacitors leaking. So yeah, plus all this heat that it is suspect to. Yeah. All right, so this is it. Victor here, RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.